I am so excited because, like I said, this show had a really big impact on me and my humor. And let's just get into it. So let's start at the beginning with it, folks. How it all began. So Jim Henson, he was the visionary behind the Muppets. I cannot say enough about this gentleman for trying new things and knowing what he wanted in life and just pushing the limit. Pigs in space. We'll get there. Just big geeks. So 54, he was 18 years old. He created a 5-minute puppet show for local TV. And like I said, at 18, I wasn't doing that. I was doing anything but that. And over the next nearly 20 years, he kept refining his craft. Instead of using like marionettes and all that, he realized he could use rods to control puppets and various materials. Henson kept refining his art and refining it and studying it. It was amazing. Got into commercials, got into some shorts and all that. And he kind of hit it big with Sesame Street 69. We've all seen Sesame Street. Like I said, it taught me to count, it taught me my alphabet, taught me to read. And like I said, I was, if had I created Sesame Street, I would have been like, okay, I'm going to call it a day. But Henson was always looking for the next challenge. And he, believe it or not, I never actually seen any of this stuff. But in 75, him and his crew had a segment on Saturday Night Live, a puppet segment. And it wasn't successful. His writers didn't mingle with the SNL writers. The content didn't jive, and it just didn't didn't mesh. Uncle Gutty still sings the Rubber Ducky song for every bath. Rubber Ducky, you're the one. Yes, I remember that song vividly. So can you imagine that you have a hit like Sesame Street. You try out get an SNL, it just doesn't work. But him and his crew learned a lot from their experience in Saturday Night Live. He never really considered anything an outright failure. He can always consider things basically a learning lesson. So he had an idea. He goes, you know what? Why don't I do the Muppet Show? And he goes, I want a more adult variety show. And so he made 2 pilots. One was the Muppets Valentine Show in 74. Muppets Sex and Violence. I kid you not, that was the name of the special to try and lure in adult viewers. ABC financed both of these, and they were okay. They weren't exactly setting the world on fire. But both ABC and CBS says thanks, but no thanks. Not going to happen. So you got 2 pilots of 2 years. You have 2 studios reject you. What would you do? Well, you probably would quit, right? Not Henson. UK. Lou Grad. Owned a station called ATV at the time. He's worked with Henson twice before. And he goes, you know what? I believe in puppets because I worked with Jerry Anderson. If you watch Thunderbirds, FAB, or Captain Scarlet, you know what you're getting into. And he said, you know what, Henson? I'll give you a shot. So Henson picked up his family and his crew, moved to London, and launched the Muppet Show. I don't know if I could do that. Could you imagine going to a whole different country to try and launch an idea that 2 studios had rejected in the States? But he did. How'd that go down? How'd that work out for him? First aired September 1976. By Christmas, 3 months later, 14 million people in the UK were watching the Muppets every Sunday night. That's a hit right there. By 77, over 100 countries were either had or wanted the show. £6 million in sales alone. So to say, basically, Henson knew what he wanted, and someone believed him, and it came true. It was basically a half-hour variety show with the Muppets and guest stars. It was a bit formulaic, but you know what? It appealed to all ages. It had enough humor to appeal to adults and to children, and created some very lovable characters and all that. Like I said, man, I remember most of these episodes fondly. How'd it go? Well, ran 5 seasons, 76 to 81. There were 120 episodes produced. Now, Duncan's pointing this out. There are 3 seasons available on DVD. They never made season 4 and 5. I don't know why they just didn't bother, basically. And there were some VHS tapes too. But I don't think they've ever put every single episode out there for viewing. Now, the good news is that since Disney bought the Muppets, most episodes are on Disney Plus. There are 2 or 3 exceptions. One, Brooke Shields. Her episode is not Disney Plus. That's over music rights. Her show involved her doing Alice in Wonderland / Wizard of Oz. It was pretty cute. But not available on Disney Plus because of music rights. The other one is Chris Langham, who was once basically a Muppet Show writer. He filled in for Richard Pryor, who canceled one night. He got into some very, very serious criminal charges in 2005 that you can go look up. Very terrible charges. So basically, he's been cast to the abyss, never to be talked of, spoken of again. Now, for my UK people who probably aren't even here, John Denver is not available in the UK. Not just because he passed on, but also because his music rights are kind of fickle over there. Wasn't canceled. The writers just thought by season 5 or they're running out of ideas. And Henson goes, you know what? That's good enough. Let's go out on top and start something new. And that was Henson's idea. Succeed, go out on top and start something new. But it wasn't all basically, serious geeks. It's very weird. But it wasn't all basically roses and sunshine out of the gate. For the first year, the Muppet Show struggled to draw guest stars. Imagine if you were, let me see here, Tom Cruise. And I came to you say, how'd you like to be on a variety show for puppets? You probably would say no. So for the first year, not many people took the Muppet Show seriously, celebrity-wise. A lot of the cast and crew had to call in favors to get people to get on to the show. And that changed when I looked it up to Duncan. I'll look up this name later here. But there was a Russian ballet dancer. And he was on here. And it was serious and funny. And that was a turning point where all of a sudden, everybody wanted to be on the show. And over the 120 episodes, you got people like Sylvester Stallone, Roger Moore, Elton John. You've got stars that you guys have never even heard of because they're so old and stuff like that. And you still say it was Lena Horne. I still say it was Rita Monroe. What I do know is that when Disney acquired the rights to Muppets, they removed Kermit's opening from the Christmas toy movie. Nobody so much. Disney has chopped stuff up like that. But either any way you spin it there, Duncan, once people realized that this was the real deal, everybody wanted on here. Now I want to talk about 5 of my favorite episodes, which is pretty hard to narrow down because there isn't any stinkers in the bunch. There's 2 or 3 that are slow. I know Duck likes to pick on Steve Martin, but looking back now as an adult, Steve Martin was at his peak at this time, and he basically did his whole stand-up gig. It's amazing that they never able to copy the magic of the original Muppet Show movies. I'm going to get to that, geeks. I'm going to tell you why and at what point it failed. It'll be a topic for another time. I'm going to tell you why, and it's something really important. It's got to do with the writing. That episode was boring. Yeah, it was. So, before we get there, geeks, Henson didn't write a lot. He had a lot of input, but you had Henson, Frank Oz, and in season 2, he brought on a guy by the name of Jerry Jewell. And he didn't know really how to write for celebrities, but he learned. And if you watch all the stuff he was involved in up until he was not involved and passed away, that was basically Muppet magic. 1999, I'm going way ahead of myself. 1999, Muppets in Space was released. It was actually pretty decent. That was the last thing Jerry was involved in. After that, I would argue a lot of the Muppet stuff was garbage. And I would spend a whole thing talking about Muppets and the Wizard of Oz was absolutely one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. But that is a story for another time. If you want to hear it, let me know. Those watching on YouTube, let me know basically in the comments. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, whatever. Let's get to my 5 favorite episodes, but I'll tell you what, geeks. Once Jerry was gone, that's when the magic kind of faded. The last of, I think, of Henson's magic was gone. Anyways, in no particular order, here we go. Mark Hamill, season 4, episode 17. I was a Star Wars guy. You know, When I saw Mark Hamill was going to be on the Muppet Show, excellent. Yes, there is a lot of Star Wars riffing going on. Yes, there's a lot of insanity between Mark and Luke, which is absolutely great. It's even more meta now than you think about Disney owning Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. But at the time, this was a big deal. And this occurred just before Empire was released. And Mark actually shows off a lot of his acting chops. Like, later on, he became the voice of the Joker. After watching him on here, it was no surprise. This guy was extremely talented. But at this point, very typecast. I should also make a note, too, you can watch these things in almost any order. There's no continue whatever. You can watch them in any order and just pick them at random and just have a great time. Other people will say, too, that if you watch them in order, you can actually watch the evolution of the show getting better and better and the changes are being made kind of thing. My thing is just watch what you want to watch. Rita Moreno. Her song with Animal, season 1, episode 4, Singing Fever. Very, very nice, actually. Also has one of my funnest skits in the whole Muppet Show. There's a telephone in the lobby. It keeps ringing. Fozzie answers it, and many things happen. Coins come out of it, and he goes, "It's Las Vegas calling." Fog comes out of it, and he says, it's London. I'm cracking up. Eventually, the phone gets ripped out the wall and starts running away. And Kermit goes, "Good grief, it's becoming a running joke." That's the Muppet humor right there. That's the humor right there. It's almost like dad jokes. Well, believe me, but absolutely just cracks me up. Cracks me up. And the funny part is going back and watching these ones. There's a lot of stars you wouldn't have no idea who they are. Like I said, the Gene Kelly was on here. Like no one knows who he is. There's so many stars you won't even know who are, but it's a great look into old Hollywood. If you got a favorite, so let me know. Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Like I said, our favorite memory. Alice Cooper. Like when I heard he was going to be on, I was excited. A lot of people didn't know how a heavy rocker, kind of like very dark, welcome to my nightmare, school's out kind of guy was going to blend the Muppets. This is cinema. The way they blend his songs in, the way he's on here, it just works so wonderfully. Season 3, episode 7. And like I said, I love this one. I watch this one a lot, basically, because the music is just absolutely stunning. This next pick might be contentious. Peter Sellers. Season 2, episode 19. Some of you who are my age, if you are my age, it's time to go get, to go to a checkup. Peter Sellers was a very comedic actor, known as Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther films. This is not my Minky. That's who he was and all that. Kind of like Will Ferrell. Absolutely funny guy. But no one knew who Peter Sellers was. He didn't even know who he was. Like Will Ferrell hates to be interviewed as himself. He'll always make jokes, whatever kind of thing. Sellers was the same way. Absolutely aloof. One of the parts on the Muppets was early on was talking to the celebrity, and they have like a little conversation what was going on and stuff like that. Sellers did not want to do this because he didn't know how to do it himself. So he just basically turned into a really weird interview. With one of his classic line is, "I don't think there's any of me left. I had it surgically moved years ago," kind of thing. But all through the show, he plays various different characters in different skits. It is basically the best example of organized chaos I can think of, basically. It's weird even today. Pink Panther is such a classic movie in their own right. I love Pink Panther films. Does your monkey bite? No, that is not my minky. Or whatever kind of thing. But like I said, it was one of the episodes that just kind of is burned in my memory. Last one I'm gonna point out too might be a strange pick. I love Harry Belafonte's episode. Season 3, episode 14. Kato, Kato, yes. Do not attack me tonight, Kato. Do not attack me. Belafonte was not a guy who would do talk shows or variety shows. Kind of like, I don't know if he wasn't keen on or what at the time. But Henson approached him and they talked about it. And Belafonte wanted to do traditional folk songs. And Henson goes, sure. I said, you gotta do your hit Banana Boat, but after that you can do whatever you want, kind of thing. And Belafonte said, excellent. So he did Banana Boat, the Beetlejuice song, Deo Deo. And they closed out with, I forget the name of the song. It's not terrible. Something about the world, anyways. It was a wonderful number with puppets wearing inspired African masks that Henson and Belafonte carefully researched. It is a wonderful musical number. Rumored to be one of Henson's favorite episodes. And at Henson's funeral, Belafonte sung that song, actually. Apart from the those are my favorite episodes. But apart from the episodes, there's actual stuff from the Muppets that you can just go on and on about the Muppet Show. You have Fuzzy Bear and doing his jokes and getting heckled by Waldorf and Statler, which Duncan and I are quite familiar with. You have the great Gonzo, the weirdo, doing all these stunts. You have Pigs in Space, which I thought was hilarious. You have Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and Muppet Labs and the Swedish Chef. You have all these over-the-top, zany characters. And not only are they funny and they're entertaining, I will wager that each and every one of us can say, that is who I identify with. I'll argue this to my dying day. I identify with Gonzo. Gonzo's my favorite. I was nicknamed Gonzo in high school because I was weird and all that. Gonzo's my favorite Muppet. But there's so many here that, like I said, you can just pick out your favorite Muppet and just let it go. But if you got a favorite, so let me know in the chat. Favorite Muppet, let me know. But when the show was over, like I said, in that 81, they're winding down. The writer's like, let's do something else. And he goes, sure. And he has got a lot of other ideas. Switz goes with Fozzie. Fozzie Bear. Ah! Oh my God. Just because he's told some of the weirdest and worst jokes ever. Not to mention the fact that he got heckled all the time was even great kind of thing. Welcome in, Switz. Let me shout some more people here while the cooldown is up there. Oh yes, Duncan. You're absolutely right about Friggle Rock. So, Henson, beyond TV, looked to the movies. And we got 3 movies during the Henson era. That was the Muppet movie in 79, the Great Muppet Caper, 81, and Muppets Takes Manhattan, 84. And so he was already starting to branch out into movies and all that. I like all these ones. I like the movie The Great Muppet Caper more than I like Muppets Take Manhattan. Henson used these as an opportunity to get stars he liked to be in them and just, bring them back. Like, if you watch Muppet movie today, you've got Richard Pryor, you got, was it in there? Paul Simon, you got all these guys, Orson Welles, you'd be like, who are these people? And they're all cute and enduring films. Like, when I saw the Muppet movie, I was blown away. There's Kermit the Frog riding a bike, and I was like, holy cow, how does this work? I was 7 at the time, but it was still absolutely amazing. You're more welcome, geeks, to the shutout. Great Muppet Caper had Charles Gordon. I thought that was actually pretty funny, too. But in all of these, like I said, Jerry Drill still writing, pitching. They're all, the creative team is here, and you can feel that humor of the Muppets going strong. Now, Henson did experiment with other films. Best Muppet movies are Christmas Carol and Treasure Island. You're going to love this one. So, Jen Henson also did Dark Crystal in 82 and Labyrinth in 86. Absolute cult classics today. When they came out, they were not. The Dark Crystal was kind of panned when it came out. A lot of people didn't understand it. They thought it was very kind of scary, and like it just didn't have the oomph. Henson was very disappointed. Very, very disappointed because he put a lot of love in that project. I don't know if he ever lived to see it actually get the credit deserved, because it was 91, I think he passed away. It did creep kids out. Labyrinth is awesome. Again, same thing. It came out, people understand it. No. I love Labyrinth. David Bowie, all day long. You remind me of the Babe. Babe with the power. And thanks very much, Geese, for pointing that out, because I'm gonna really, really kind of like lean into this one. So after movies, what Babe? Babe with the power. Oh man, I love Labyrinth. Henson went back to TV. Duncan already pointed out Fraggle Rock, which was filmed in Toronto. The Storyteller, an absolute fantastic collection. Oh my gosh. If you can go find it, it was streaming at one point someplace. Please watch it. It's 9 episodes of some common, some fables and fairy tales, told in the Henson manner with wonderful puppetry. And John Hurt is a storyteller. Did she say it? I know. And Jennifer Connelly too. No power of me. Labyrinth's so quotable. But please, go and watch The Storyteller. Show it to your kids. It is fantastic and just gets completely overlooked. And as Duncan mentioned, we got Fraggle Rock, we got Muppet Babies, and we got Muppet Family Christmas. I wish the Goblins would come and take you away right now. I gotta do a Labyrinth. We're gonna do Labyrinth one night. Fraggle Rock was Henson's next idea, which was great for TV. That was 83. Muppet Babies, man, Muppet Baby Mania is all I can think of. Because they were everywhere. Had Happy Meal toys. They had a brief segment in Muppets Take Manhattan, and that kind of spun the idea. And then Muppet Family Christmas was kind of one of the last things that he worked on. The absolute last project that Henson worked on was Muppet 3D Vision at Walt Disney World. After that, as Geeks pointed out, we got Muppets Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, and Muppets in Space. That was post Henson, but Jerry and Frank Oz were still around doing the writing. Those films are excellent. After Muppets in Space, there, like I said, Muppets and Wizard of Oz is one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I'll talk about another stream. I know, Duncan, I left it out. Where's Ahmet Alder's Jug Band Christmas? I left it out. I'm sorry. I might do a special stream for that too. He made that during the Muppet Show, and that was basically a very, very a good TV special with a lot of detail, in my opinion. I know, Duncan. Henson didn't do E.T. And going back to the Storyteller, Geeks points out the man who caught death was a particular story from the series that stands out to me. But there's so many things, like I said. I'll talk about that I hate being negative when I'm doing these things, but Wizard of Oz was just like that. The Muppets, the new Muppet movie was actually quite good. Muppets Most Wanted, and then we had declining quality after that. And I'll tell you why. Like I said, the magic from the writing team on that is gone, and Disney doesn't know what to do with the Muppets. But having said all that, let's look back and remember the Muppet Show and Henson gave us. And like I said, we've got our favorite favorite quotes. Henson's other ones, Bear in the Big Blue House, yeah. Henson's still around today, like the Jim Henson Productions, like for puppets and stuff is still around, but yeah. But let's look back on the man, think about the Muppet Show, and talk about basically our favorite episodes or our favorite characters. Like I said, I love Gonzo. I'm surprised I know animal people in the chat. But that's it. That's the Muppet Show in a nutshell, folks. Hope you enjoyed that.